What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So now that we're kind of nearing the home stretch of the NHL regular season, which is disgusting to say. I feel like the season started yesterday. Most teams have like 32 to 35 games remaining in their season. I thought it'd be a fun idea to go one last time and predict what I think the end of the season records and divisional standings, and as a result, the overall league standings would be by the end of the year. So we're going to go division by division, what I think is going to happen. Let's not waste any time. It's pretty self-explanatory. And up first, we got the Pacific. The Edmonton Oilers, I have them winning the Pacific Division based on what they've been since late October, since they had a rough start. They've been probably the best team in the entire NHL. Guys are all clicking. Zach Hyman's finally back on track. Stuart Skinner, although he played pretty shit against the Washington Capitals last night, has stabilized. I think he has like a 918 actually since like late November. So yeah, I have them winning. Don't think that that's that hot of a take. They're definitely going to be in the discussion and in debate for who's going to be winning the President's Trophy. Vegas Golden Knights have been a well-oiled machine this season, barring any injuries, barring any Mark Stone LTIR. Maybe they'll go down a little bit, but I think they're going to finish second in this division. The Kings have been struggling a little bit of late, but they're still adding Drew Doughty, so I still think no doubt a safe playoff team. Would not surprise me if they finish with like 103, 104 points. I got the Canucks at 90 points. We're going to have to wait until the Central, which we're going to do next to see if I have them in the playoffs. But yeah, it's been horrible to start this season with all the dysfunction, and they're still above 500. I think that they are going to play better down the stretch if they end up trading that guy pictured, JT Miller. The locker room problems might get resolved once he's finally gone. So I still think the Canucks are going to put together a half-decent final 35 games and be at 90 points. The Calgary Flames, I'm cooked on my over 81.5 point bet. I have no faith in that anymore. I'm going to be eating blazing hot Buffalo Wild wings in like late April, but I don't think that they're going to be a playoff team. I think that Conroy might sell some pieces at the deadline, and I still not sure what they're doing right now is sustainable in terms of Ryan Huska's system. Seattle, they're just the most blah team in the entire NHL, in my opinion. Yes, they dealt with the Vince Dunn injury to start the year, but they haven't been that good since he got back. Joey Daccord would have to go on some insane run for them to even finish at like 85 points thus far. And honestly, probably selling at the deadline, probably looking at a top 7-8 pick. Them finishing at 83 points would honestly be worst case scenario. I'm being positive here and saying get a high pick and kind of regroup for next year. Anaheim Ducks, another that I put on the punishments. They have 71.5 points they got to hit. It's going to be close. They started out very good, but a lot of that was fueled by Lucas Dostal. Would not surprise me if down the stretch they play pretty bad and finish at around 70, 69. But I'm being hopeful. They got Trevor Zegras back. I have them at 73 points, and the Sharks are just a bad team. Next up, we got the Central Division, and I do have the Vancouver Canucks making the playoffs as that 8 seed because I have the St. Louis Blues at 89 points. They've been playing sneaky great under, not great, but sneaky very good under Jim Montgomery. They're like 14, 9, and 2. So they definitely could make the playoffs. I would have them ahead of Utah. I think that Binnington hopefully will play better down the stretch for them. He's been a little bit lackluster. Joel Hofer has not been that good. So there's a lot of room for improvement for St. Louis, and they have been playing good under Montgomery. Avalanche winning the division. This might be a little bit controversial because they are a distant fourth right now in points percentage in the Central. But I think now that they actually have sustainable, good goaltending in Mackenzie Blackwood, they have been a much better team. And Wedgwood has also been very good. So I expect a hot finish for the Colorado Avalanche. Winnipeg, guy pictured, Connor Hellebuck, I think that they're going to give him some much-needed rest in the final weeks of the season. When looking at them last year, they played him 60, I think it might have been 60 on the dot. But you definitely don't want to overwork him, considering he has the Vezina locked up. And unless they could potentially be the number 1 seed in the West and play the Vancouver Canucks, but even the Vancouver Canucks, if they're fully healthy and have a good second half of the season, they're a dangerous team. I don't think that it's that advantageous for the Winnipeg after what we saw last year with them kind of going balls to the wall at the end and still getting dogged by the Avalanche. Rest up, Hellebuck. The Dallas Stars, I could see them winning the division as well, 105 points. Minnesota's been banged up, have not been playing that good the last month or so. As a result, hopefully Kaprizov will come back, safely making the playoffs, but I don't really think they're going to win the Central Division. Utah, they're going to get some heads back in terms of their defense core. Don't expect them to be like aggressively buying at the deadline, though. This would be a very solid season for Utah, going from like 77 points last year to 84. The Predators, 4 straight wins. They're playing much better of late. I think they're going to have a strong final push, but they're just in such a hole that I think that they're going to finish around point per game for the Preds. And then the Hawks, similarly to San Jose, should be selling at the deadline. No doubt, bottom 2 team in the entire NHL, the San Jose Sharks in the Blackhawks. Third division we're looking at is the Metro Division. Washington just has such a lead over every single team in the Metro Division. And even with this at 110 points, I'm saying that they're going to slow down a little bit. They're at 116 point pace right now. I think that, again, maybe Winnipeg at the end of the season, I'm not sure they're going to be going balls to the wall because, again, they have such a lead. Carolina has been playing better of late. Regular season wagon, 104 points. The Devils, I think, stabilize. They figure out some of their problems and finish at around 100 points. The Rangers, I do have making a wild card spot. They've been great of late. I think they're 6-0-3 in their last 9 against very, very good competition. As much as I hate to say it, I don't want to say that they're a lock for the playoffs because they're definitely still in that Eastern Conference race, but I'm picking them over the Blue Jackets, and I'm picking them over most of the Atlantic teams. They're really putting it together. Shesterkin is starting to ball out. Philadelphia Flyers, they've been 5-0-1 since the Cutter Gauthier game. That kind of woke them up, but I still, just the lack of talent, the goaltending tandem, in my opinion, is so lackluster that I think that as much as they're surging right now, they're probably going to have a 3 to 4 game losing streak at some point to kind of take them out of the playoff race, and they might sell guys like Rasmus Ristolainen at the deadline, so I have them just barely over 500. My Islanders, I'm hoping that this is what happens. Knowing the Islanders, they're going to finish with 86. Oh, I forgot to talk about the Jackets. Playing amazing right now. They got some decisions to make at the deadline with guys like Ivan Provorov. It's been a great season, but I can't see them beating out the Rangers or another Atlantic team that we're going to get to. And yeah, the Islanders, I hope that they finish below 85 points. Them finishing between 85 and 90 and missing the playoffs, not selling at the deadline would be the most infuriating thing of all time. This is kind of assuming they have a really hard stretch coming up. Noah Dobson's hurt. If you saw that injury, it was disgusting. His leg bended in ways that it shouldn't. So hopefully they sell at the deadline. I don't know with Lou Lamoriello. It's going to be a horrifying deadline. And then the Penguins, they're looking like they're going to be sellers as well. Marcus Pettersson, I would be surprised if he's not traded at this point. This is assuming that they have a really bad final 35-ish games, but I think that they will after kind of punting on the season, and it has just been ugly. Ned's been very good for them, though. And then lastly, the Atlantic. I have Ottawa in that other wild card spot. Have been playing very good of late. And without Linus Ullmark, they've been playing great. Merrill-Leinen has really carried the load. And I think once Ullmark gets back, that's a very formidable tandem. Going back to the top, Toronto Maple Leafs have kind of been a regular season wagon this year. Stolarz has been out, and they're still been winning at a very high rate, even with Matthews' injury. He looks like he's all the way back. They should probably not run away with this division, but win it pretty comfortably. Florida Panthers, they're up and down a little bit, but I think we can agree they're safely going to be a playoff team. And once it's playoff time, they're going to be a lot of people's Stanley Cup, Eastern Conference representative. Don't blame them. Tampa Bay Lightning, they've been solid. They've been hovering around 58 to 60% points percentage. I expect that to stay, and I think they're a very dangerous team come playoff time. Boston, it has not been pretty. I think that they'll probably miss. I think that Don Sweeney is hot. His seat is so hot that ownership is not even going to allow him to make some kind of blockbuster move. It's going to say, this is your team. If they miss the playoffs, you're out of here. We're not going to let you desperately swing for your job and trade all of our future assets, which they barely have any to begin with. I do not expect him to have that luxury. Canadians, some Canadians fans are going to scream that they're going to make the playoffs. It's possible. Again, it's not like I have them massively missing. I have them missing by 5 points. It's going to be interesting to see what they do at the deadline with a guy like David Savard, that they could probably get a second-round pick, but I wouldn't hate the idea of just keeping it together and maybe even shipping out a second-round pick to get something. Could make the playoffs. We'll see how it goes with Montreal. This would be a massive success of a season, an 87-point season. The Wings, great under Todd McClellan to start, have gotten a little bit cold of late. I think that they're not as bad as they were under Lalonde, but not as good as the start of the McClellan era. I expect that they're kind of just going to hover around 500 the next 35 games, if that makes sense. Don't think that's a hot take. And then the Sabres, this is actually, I'm saying that they're going to play better than they are right now in the back half. They're on pace for 71 points. I think they're going to show some life, probably play at around 500, but it's been very, very ugly for the Sabres. I don't expect Kevin Adams, another guy that probably will get fired this offseason, so I don't expect some kind of desperation move. And as a result, they're going to miss by a lot and end up with another top 5 pick, top 7 pick that they've had so many of the last decade, 12 years running at this point. But yeah, we'll run through it again. Pacific, Canucks making the playoffs. I still have them making the playoffs, but I understand if you don't. Central, Avalanche coming from behind to win the division, and the St. Louis Blues just barely missing out on the playoffs. The Metro, Caps kind of run away with it. They've just been that damn good this season. And then lastly, the Atlantic. The rebuild is over. The Ottawa Senators make the playoffs. The Habs take a massive step, and the Sabres, yet again, are at the basement of the league. Let me know in the comments. What do you think about these division predictions? Don't think that they're like completely out of there, controversial. I don't think anybody's gonna hate this outside of maybe the Avalanche pick. Why do I say like Avalanche pick? Maybe outside of the Avalanche pick, them kind of putting together a great final stretch of the NHL season. But yeah, let me know in the comments. What do you think? I'm going to go through what the matchups would be in this situation. The Oilers would play the Canucks in the first round, Knights versus Kings, and then the Avalanche versus the Wild, and the Jets versus the Stars. So it would be sticking in the divisions. In the Metro, the Caps would play the Senators, and then the Canes would play the Devils. Then the Rangers would play the Leafs. That'd be a great series. And then the Panthers versus the Lightning. That would be some pretty electric matchups. I'll be seeing the next one. Peace.